Okay, you can see where we've taped off for the crack. This was a crack that was caused by a sudden impact of a refrigerator or a stove. We're not exactly sure which one, but this will give you an idea of what a repair and what is involved with repairing a Granite. We've used a acrylic fill, as well as we've mixed it with some tint in order to replicate the color of the stone, which is ubatuba. We're going to start off with very lightly working a 200 pad in order to take the high spots off. We're going to be exceptionally gentle so that we're not carving into the stone too much. The whole idea is to take down the high points of the stone where the crack is formed. We're going to be using a rigid backup pad which is made of aluminum in order to give it a nice flat surface. The pads are going to start off with a 200 very delicately, then we're going to go to a 400, an 800, a 1000, a 1500, a 2000, then a 3000, and then a final buff, and then we'll also be applying some black tamoxifen, which will ultimately bring up the shine to be equal to the rest of the counter. Okay, we removed the yellow tape and are now drawing out a white line so that we know where to go without exceeding. We're now using a 400 grit, which will continue to smoothen things out and take out the fine scratches. Okay, we're at the 800. We've drawn another reference line so that we can continue to feather out the polishing so that we get a nice consistent shine without having any scratches. Now you'll be able to see the light a little bit more to determine whether or not you need to go back down. Use the light to see if the stone is flat, that you've taken down the high spot of the crack. It's not something that you can feel, it's something that you have to see using light. So it's nice to have a lot of good light over above where you're working so you can see if you're flat. Okay, we're on to the 1000 grit pad. We've extended our line out a little further so that we can blend the polish without having any swirl marks or scratches. Pretty much up until you start hitting into the 1500, you're still carving the granite, but you're carving it very minor in order to take out all the scratches. And again, making sure that the high spot is coming down so that the crack will be nothing more than a very small fissure when everything's done. Okay, we're on the 1500 grit pad right now, and as you can see, the shine's starting to come up a little bit. Now we're starting to get into our polishing pads. The pads will bring up the shine. You've got to apply a little bit more pressure than you did into your other pads, and you want to periodically wipe down the counter with a little bit of water so that the granular grits are not actually scoring the countertop, so you get a nice glass-like shine at the end of all your pads. Okay, so we're now on the 2000 pad. We finished off with the 1500, and as you can see, it's shine's still trying to come up. You're using the light to see the bends. Okay, we're now on the 3000, and as you can see, the shine is starting to come up now. Still has a little bit of a haze to it, but that will continue to come up. Have to work the pad. So what we've got now is we've got a little bit of black tamoxifen onto the counter, and we're just going to mix it in. This black tamoxifen will bring up the shine, and at the same time it will put some color back into the stone. We want to use it very sparingly. And you don't want it to get all over the place. So you're just going to put it on like a paste. Spread it around. Do you want to go get some black? So we've applied the black tamoxifen, and what this is designed to do is to bring up the shine, to take away the haze. It's a little tricky to use, so you have to use it with a little bit of caution. Don't cake it on too much. Just sort of mixing it around. You want to keep it a little on the wet side, and it usually takes a couple of applications in order to get it a good consistency. Okay, so we just applied some wax with some black tint in it and let it dry for about 3 minutes, and now we're just taking some steel wool to remove the excess wax, and the shine will come up, and we'll just blend the shine with the other surface area, and you no longer can see the crack. If there is a little bit of visibility of the crack, then you would just want to keep applying a little bit more wax to be able to fill it. Or you'll have to fill it with some adhesive glue and then perhaps polish it a little bit more. But looks good. So we applied some final wax just to the top of the counter, just to bring up the shine a little bit more. As you can see, very nice polish, consistent all the way through.